11th school committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 6:31 p.m. Please stand for the pledge. The flag, which is behind you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we're going to take a moment of silence in remembrance of September 11th. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a public statement? Wonderful. Okay, we're going to move along. We have some really exciting announcements tonight and some great awards we're going to be giving out. So I'm just going to reintroduce Addison Dion is our new student school committee member. So welcome, Addie. She'll be representing all of Bourne public school students on the committee. I think you attended the last meeting of the school year. Yeah. I just want to make sure we're introduced properly. Maureen, unfortunately, was unable to attend. She is representing Bourne Public Schools in the superintendent search for the Cape Cod Collaborative. So that's where Maureen is, because that's second Wednesday of the month is always the Cape Cod Collaborative's meeting. Okay. So we're going to get right into some awards. So the first award we'd like to give out this evening is to a local hero who came up to the podium. We are so excited to give this award out. The 2024 Canalman Excellence Recognition Award to Mr. John Couch. Did you want to say anything about the situation? And we all, everyone saw the news and watched the story. It's just fascinating. It's amazing.
It was crazy. So I got ambushed by a reporter a couple of days ago. So this is different.
Really good on TV. Get in closer so they can hear you.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy few minutes there, and it just happened. And I'm glad I saved the guy's life. I'd like to think I did. I mean, I didn't know if he could open the door or not, but I did for him. So I'm glad I got out, and I hope he's okay. I haven't heard anything yet, but I think he's okay. So, and I'm glad I did. Like I said, I'd do it again. So I'd do it for anybody.
So nice. Thank you. A little hero in our school system, our communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I take a picture of your family too?
Oh, sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Yeah. I was like, I just think it's so And John, I wanted to say, everyone that I talked to that heard about it, they all said, of course he did. That's John. So I wanted you to know that you know, you exemplify who we want to be as people, and you just did it because that's what you do.
Thank you.
And I'm just really proud that you're one of us.
I'm proud to work with everybody here too.
And I do have to say, there was one person that did email, and they said that you were already here in schools. So it was so nice. And
That's awesome.
So yeah, let's take a little pic. Do you mind? No. Awesome. Of course we'll get it for us. Or Christine. Wonderful. Yeah, nice. Oh gosh. I can't open that. There we go. Sorry, Chris.
Thank you. We have Excellence Recognition Awards for our volleyball team as well. They will be joining us. They're actually currently playing right now. So they are finished. They're going to be coming on the bus right back to Bourne High School, and they're going to come right into the media center here, and they'll all get their awards at that time. So we'll come back to that. So moving along on our agenda, we also have a we actually have to reorganize. So every year after we have our summer meeting, we do a little reorganization of the school committee, new positions, new subcommittees. So we do need to officially vote in a new, the chair for the year, the assistant chair, and the secretary position for the school year. And then I'll also, after we do that, I will let you know everyone's new roles on their subcommittees.
I'd like to make a motion to have Emily Berry as our chairperson this upcoming year, Donnell as our vice chair, and Carrie as our secretary.
I just want to take a whole slate. So every superintendent gets very excited about this moment, because when there's a real gavel, it gets handed to us. And for a moment, we hold all the power in the world. No, really, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot the gavel. I didn't have one.
But I guess my question is, do you want to do it as a whole slate, or do you want to do it as individuals? That's your purview. Because the motion stands.
Do it together.
All
We can do a whole slate. Yeah, let's do a whole slate.
So I get to play parliamentarian for a minute. So there's a motion on the floor for Emily Berry as chair, Donnell Fields as vice chair, and Carrie Schofield as secretary. Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? You're in on this too, Addie.
And it's too late for anyone to opt out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I wish you had told me.
Yes, as part of the discussion, would all three accept those positions should you be voted in?
Yes.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call a vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? No? Okay, motion carried. Congratulations. I'm not in charge anymore.
She got to be the chair for just that 1 minute. Yeah, you can do it anytime you want, though.
Very sweet, no.
Yeah. Okay, so our new subcommittee positions are curriculum, on the curriculum subcommittee, curriculum subcommittee will be Carrie Schofield, Maureen Fuller, and Kat Patel. On the policy subcommittee, Donnell, myself, and Kat. On budget and facilities, Maureen, Kendallin, and Carrie. On the student advisory committee, that will be myself and, I think this was supposed to be Donnell here. Carrie? Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. And then, oh, no, I'm both, okay. And then the superintendent advisory committee on community outreach, which is a new subcommittee that we have to help our school committee goal for this year. And that's going to be Carrie and Donnell. And then liaison to technology is Carrie. Liaison to the CPAC is Carrie. Liaison to the collaborative is Maureen. And the Bourne Rail Trail is Kendallin. And then we also are going to be looking for a student to join the Bourne Rail Trail committee as well. So those are our committee assignments for the 2024-25 school year. Now, just going with the next thing. Our next topic is our goal for the year. And so we actually have two school committee goals for this year. Our first goal is about community engagement. So our goal is to engage the community. We would love to see more people getting involved with the school committee, getting involved in the schools in general, understanding all that's happening, not just in the PTA, not just with the extra events that the PTA does, but kind of go a little deeper, find out what's actually going on day to day in our schools. So community outreach is our goal, and we're going to be attending different events, and meets teacher night for all of the schools, just as many events as you can get to. We're going to have our own car at Trunk or Treat this year. Really fun. So if anyone in the community has ideas on how we can continue to engage more families, please reach out. I would love suggestions. That'd be very helpful. Would you like to add anything to that, anyone?
No, excited to be seen at more events.
Oh, yeah, we'll be everywhere. We're going to be like Waldo.
We have our shirts identifying that we are.
Yes, that we are on the school committee, so
Yes.
you'll know we'll be,
Yeah.
well.
So
And we have lanyards too. I don't mean to brag, but. So that really, everyone's gonna wanna do it. It's so fun. It's so fun. Okay, and then our other goal is about strategic planning. So this is going to be discussed a little in a few minutes, but the Teaching and Learning Alliance is going to be working with Bourne Public Schools this year to do some strategic planning for the future of Bourne Public Schools. And so we're going to be participating in that and working with them to see how we can best benefit our schools and all of our students in the next few years and further in the future. So those are our goals for the year. Any final thoughts or discussions? Okay, and moving along, we have two pieces of correspondence. The first piece of correspondence is the Blue Star Families Week proclamation. Donnell is going to read that. We read this at a school committee meeting last year as well, but we felt that it was important to continue to read this again. We're going to read it every year. Okay. Whereas Bourne Public Schools has 3 pillars in our district strategy that includes building community and an organization we strive to engage both students and families in their learning. Whereas Bourne Public Schools has a proud, long-standing history of welcoming military-connected families through partnership with Joint Base Cape Cod. Whereas Blue Star Families seek to empower military families by connecting them with their neighbors, individuals, and organizations to create vibrant communities of mutual support. Whereas Blue Star Families annually designates the week beginning the second to the last Saturday in September and concluding 8 days thereafter as Blue Star Welcome Week. Whereas during this week we recognize the 600,000 active duty and transitioning military families who move to new communities each year, whereas nearly half of these permanent change of situations moves occur during the summer, whereas only 41% of the military family respondents to the 2023 Military Family Lifestyle Survey reported that they feel a sense of belonging to their local civilian community, whereas a sense of belonging is essential to the well-being and readiness of military families, whereas we commit to ensure the military and veteran-connected families feel a strong sense of belonging to local civilian communities, whereas we express gratitude for the sacrifices made by service members, transitioning veterans, and their families, whereas we encourage civilians nationwide to welcome military and veteran-connected families into their communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the entire Bourne School Committee do hereby proclaim September 21st through September 29th, 2024 as Blue Star Welcome Week in the Bourne Public Schools of Massachusetts. Thank you. Dr. Joe, did you want to say anything about that?
Sure. I mean, thankfully the group did it last year as well. Blue Stars is a nonprofit organization across the nation, and we're also connected with the Purple Star, which is a different organization that's state and federal based, but this is just a nice way that at the beginning of the school year to welcome military families. We actually talked about it today in our admin meeting. We do it in different ways in the schools, but it's really nice to kind of make a big proclamation that says we are a welcoming school for military families.
Do we have this hung in the schools?
Not yet.
That's a great idea, though. I could get your frames.
All right.
Yeah, we could do a nice big.
Especially that week, it'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be so nice. Yeah. We want 100% of families to feel welcome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our other piece of correspondence is from the Bourne, our select board, and this is National Suicide Prevention Month, and so in recognition of National Suicide Prevention and Action Month, the select board created their proclamation as well, And so Carrie's will be reading that proclamation. And so this is from the Bourne Select Board, but we felt that it was important to read it as well.
Whereas with September recognized as Suicide Prevention and Action Month, the Cape and Islands Suicide Prevention Coalition invites our communities, mental health advocates, prevention organizations, survivors, and allies to join us in helping to destigmatize mental health through initiative taking action towards suicide prevention. We seek to raise awareness and visibility of suicide prevention resources in our communities and help connect individuals with the appropriate support services such as 988, and whereas, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34, with more than 49,476 people dying by suicide annually in the United States. And whereas, with an average of 132 suicides deaths daily, and each one directly impacting 125 additional people, including friends, service members, family, social media connections, and neighbors, we know a sizable number of individuals who have been impacted by suicide. Whereas Barnstable County's suicide rate is 1.5 times higher, standing at 14.4 per 100,000 versus the state of Massachusetts' suicide rate of 9.4 per 100,000. We recognize the need to create hope through action locally. Whereas our local Cape and Islands Suicide Prevention Coalition works hard to spread the word about prevention, awareness, education, and action through trainings, forums, and events in our region. Whereas Bourne commits to being an active prevention partner with the Cape and Islands Suicide Prevention Coalition and publicly places its full support behind those who work in the field of suicide prevention and research, mental health, community health and education, and law enforcement who deal with this daily. Whereas we encourage all residents to take time to understand mental health and suicide through education and recognize that we need to take care of our mental health while we take care of each other. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Bourne Select Board do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 as National Suicide Prevention and Action Month in Bourne.
Through the chair. So this is obviously a more sobering proclamation, and I was at the Board of Select when they read this the first time, and you can see the statistics are shocking. And for anyone, and I know many of us have been affected by knowing someone who's either tried or unfortunately succeeded in suicide, we know that mental health is a real issue today more than ever. So with that said, it usually leads to then what are we doing in the schools and how can we help? And so what I did ask is for Kristen Donnie, who oversees our school counselors, and also for Lisa McGuire, who now has a Hope Squad chapter in our high school, to just talk a little bit. So if we could take about 5 minutes to say what we're doing to kind of help with this, knowing that you can never do too much. So, Ms. Donnie?
Sure. At one high school, the topic is addressed directly in health and wellness, taken by all students. Guidance and adjustment counselors also engage in prevention efforts throughout the school year. They provide informational handouts, we have research and literature to hand out to families, classroom presentations, do individual and small group discussions. Students are also offer support to one another. That's how we really, in reality, that is how we know, is through other students, that there's a risk. So this year at the high school, students created a wall of hope in which they left encouraging messages to one another. Staff routinely engage in presentations, shows the signs of self-harm, which is an indicator. And I'll turn it over to Dr. McGuire, who will talk about the presentation of Hope Squad that we started to engage with.
Good evening.
Hi.
So we are really excited to have the Hope Squad underway this year. Hope Squad is a peer-to-peer suicide prevention program focused around peer intervention. Our young leaders are forbidden to act as counselors or therapists, but instead promote inclusivity and anti-bullying. They build connections and help to reduce the stigma of mental illness while promoting self-help seeking behavior. So after securing grant funding from Sharing Kindness and NIE, we had advisors trained last spring, and they are working to formalize our student partnerships to organize school-wide activities that promote connectedness and serve as a bridge to support fellow students.
Our trade advisors are Andrew Arkey, Liz Boucher, Amy Jerominski, John Leroy, and John McIntyre. And students nominate their peers to participate, which has happened for all 4 grades now that our freshmen have joined us. And students are having their first meeting next month. So we look forward to keeping you updated on their progress, but we are really excited to have the program. We have a commitment of 5 years in the curriculum, so it's not something that is a one and done. It's a program that we hope really impacts the culture of our building and the way students interact with one another and support each other. So at BMS, the topic is addressed directly in health classes as well, taken one quarter per year by all students. Guidance and adjustment counselors also engage in prevention efforts throughout the school year. They're providing Tier 1 instruction and prevention. Guidance lessons with a mental health focus. Counselors hold lunch groups, counseling groups, and wing groups, all with support of positive mental health and strategies and focus on belonging. BMS also hosts a mental health day annually, during which students learn about prevention and practical steps for getting help for themselves and their friends. Eventually, BMS will be the beneficiaries of BHS's Hope Squad enrollment. It's a 5-year kind of evolution. At BIS, the topic obviously sensitive to age, right? We're just getting with the younger kiddos. Falls under the umbrella of mental health and is just the great appropriate manners during health and wellness classes as well. Students engage in lessons with the school adjustment counselors about mental health. They hear about stress management, how to address their feelings. They also are encouraged to identify trusted adults in their lives and who to turn to, who can they share information with about their feelings and concerns about themselves or a friend. Counselors hold lunch bunches and small group sessions for students. And then for our list at BBS, again, obviously the topic will fall under mental health and is addressed, continues to be addressed through health and wellness classes, to the topic of healthy mind and body. Mental health and identification of feelings and emotions is supported through work of the adjustment counselors, through school themes, and through specific planned targeted groups.
Thank you. Thanks. That's all I have. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Jack, for your report.
Great. Well, we've got so many exciting things. I'll try to be brief in some of my reports because you will hear more about it later. So our opening of school was really awesome, very successful, very positive. All of us were in all of the schools. There was just this great vibe. Kids were happy to come back. I literally had, on the first pre-K day, this little person bounced up to me and said, "I'm just so happy." I'm like, "So am I." It was really great. Yeah, lots of smiles. Of course, as time wears on, I realize I have to keep coming back. I was a little bit of in the parking lot today because I really have to keep coming back. In general, just a really positive start. And Addie, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I would like to hear your reflection about the opening of school. Do you have any reflection from the high school?
I think this year's been going pretty well so far. And I was just thinking about it. I was looking at the calendar, I'm like, wow, I've only been here for 9 days. But I feel like it's just been such a great week, and especially this week, settling into things. I've been doing my classes, and I feel like there's great teacher-student engagement this year, and I just feel really connected to all my classes, and I'm excited. And I think we have a lot of fun things planned. I don't know about the other schools, but I know the high school, we have Spirit Week coming up, and we just have so many events on the calendar already, and I'm just looking forward to the rest of the year.
That's awesome. That's great. It brings me so much joy to hear you say the word engaged, right? Because that's what we're going for. We really want students to be engaged. So yeah, I could have shown you a whole bunch of pictures, but if you watch our Facebook, you're going to see that, all those kids, lots of great smiles all around. So you'll hear a little bit about our professional development day a little later, which was also a great kickoff, and the orientation day. We have lots of really exciting new staff. You'll meet some of them pretty soon. So I'm going to check that off unless there's any questions. All right, moving on. I have a brief enrollment update for you. So I do have it linked for any of our newer members. This is a running enrollment tab as we try to, I need to make it a little smaller on the screen so you can see them all. We're trying to get a handle on kind of where we've been and where we're going. So you do see we have the newest numbers here, right? What this will show you is not only by grade, but down here you'll also see the school choice numbers. What are the school choice numbers in 8th grade? There are 20 kiddos who want to be in our 8th grade class, and that's just wonderful. So where there's room, we keep bringing them in. This little indicator here, this one here is out of district, OOD. Let's see, where's that? Here we go, over here. So these are kiddos who are in other schools, but they're Bourne residents. They're still Bourne students, but they're in tuitioned in school. So they're not sitting in our seats here. We hope that they will be at some point in time. So what we have for a total right now is 1552. And you can see of those here's our total, 1567. And of those, 114 of them are school choice in. So you can go back, you always have access to this tab, I keep it live, and you can go back to see the October 1st of the years prior. We lock in our financials on October 1st, so that's what the state counts when they look at next year's funding. But also, one thing I'll flip over to was April 2024 to see kind of where we left at the end of last year. And you can see we're actually just a little bit of a blip higher, which is good. So we actually have more kiddos in our schools right now than we had at the end of last year. Turning the page. Slightly, but still, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think that our enrollment is going to start to increase in different places, whether it's our school choice or whether there's more people move to town with kids, which is wonderful. But I think we're going to start to see that turn. So that's the brief enrollment update. And now I'd like to introduce a few of our new staff members. So let's see, I don't think I'm doing it by alphabetical order. Let me try. I know Stephanie Burns is a B, so why don't we start with her? All right, so I'd like to introduce Stephanie. She is our new elementary special education coordinator. You all have her resume in there, or you've seen the beautiful article. But I'd like to give you a minute to just meet her. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were before, and maybe your first impressions of Bourne.
Sure. So I began in special education 33 years ago, and then in multiple roles, from classroom teacher to behavior therapist to working in administration in a variety of roles. Most recently, I was in New Bedford, at New Bedford High School. I'm quite excited to be back in a K-5 position. It's lovely to see kids so happy to come to school. I will confess I'm a product of a school committee member. My father was on school committee for the entire 12 years of my education. I sometimes read the packets and found them really boring. But this feels very comfortable to me, which is a really nice thing. And in my previous roles, I've sat at the school committee as a member as well. So I'm quite excited to be in Bourne. I have admitted to several people that I kept watching openings in Bourne for quite a long time. Openings are very rare here because your staff comes and they become part of this community and they don't want to leave. So I was quite thrilled to be able to become part of this community. So I'm looking forward to a great year.
I do want to quote her. She originally said she was stalking Bourne. I think it's great. And other people who are new also admitted they were stalking Bourne as well. I do think it's a testament to what we do here. So we have two wonderful Ellens. So by alphabetical order, let's have Ellen McLaughlin come on up first. So you'll see Ellen McLaughlin as our new assistant principal down at Bournedale. She comes to us with also a wealth of experience, and she's also our pre-K coordinator, which is a special ed role. So Ellen, want to tell us about you and the first few weeks?
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me. So excited to be here. Ellen McLaughlin. I've had a long career of special education, preschool, early literacy, early childhood development. I was a kindergarten teacher, special education, preschool teacher, and then quite a few years as an assistant principal. So this role was a perfect match for me, and Bourne has been a perfect match for me. It has been, this experience has been so lovely, so welcoming. Bourne is a community that I plan on staying with for a long time. And again, thank you for to everyone here for all the smiling faces. So it's, yeah, I'm just so excited to be here and working with our littlest learners.
Sometimes you will also meet Shamrock, which is Ellen's comfort dog, and now a brand new friend at Bournedale. So we'll integrate Shamrock the way we did with Callie and with Shelby. The kiddos will get that opportunity now.
That's awesome.
Very exciting. So we hope Shamrock will visit us sometime.
Absolutely, anytime.
Awesome. Great. So, and our last but not least, Ellen, is Ellen Trott, at Bourne Intermediate. So you want to come on up, Ellen? So she's over at BIS, and as you know, there's a brand new team over at BIS, just rocking it over there. Fun fact, she was Dr. Starkey's student way back then.
That far back.
But more importantly, she also comes with loads of experience, and we're thrilled to have her, so.
Yes, so good evening. Thank you for having me. So most recently I came from Franklin, but way back in the day. I grew up in Lakeville, which is why I have the esteemed Dr. Starkey. But so most recently I was in Franklin. I was an assistant principal. I served students in K through 5. And now I am here, which is great. I'm really excited to be a part of this community. My first couple weeks have been amazing. Very warm welcomes, laughs and smiles all around from students and staff. It's been great. I Noelle, obviously, she's new too, and I feel like we just kind of hit the ground running together, and I feel like we're working really well together. So I'm really excited for the rest of the school year.
So continuing on, you'll hear from them a little later with the SIPs as well. So I will say, so I don't forget to say it later, we also have the National Night Out tonight that the Bourne Police Department is doing. It was rescheduled due to weather, so all of our administrators were planning to be here tonight, but some of them are on duty over there to make sure that the little kiddos have s'mores made and prizes and all this great stuff. So there's a whole bunch of folks manning the tables over there. Our friends from Teaching Learning Alliance couldn't make it tonight, so I'm just going to do that for you for Albert. So I do apologize for that, but they will be here for the rest of the ride. So Teaching and Learning Alliance is a really esteemed group of mostly former superintendents. They're educators of all sorts, and they do a lot of different things, but the one thing that we're contracting them to do is our strategic plan. So this is really, really exciting. As I said to our staff, the last time we did strategic planning, it was a district strategy, which means it was led by me as the new superintendent. It was an entry plan, manager lived that and saw all the paperwork and the focus groups. And it was, I still think, a really great plan and had a lot of input. But this is really the people's plan. And so for that reason, we wanted to get a consultant so that the focus groups are not even there. People can feel open to talk, to say what they want, and then I'll get the summaries and we'll all get it together. So Teaching and Learning Alliance has done many, many district strategic plans, and some of you have seen examples. We showed them at the retreat. And we've already had our kind of kickoff meeting. So I'm just going to give you some of the basics, but I'm also going to tell you that Bourne Enterprise has agreed to put an editorial in for me that will give some information on this. So we know it'll probably be this coming week, I believe. But do watch for that. And we'll also put out a lot of information. So there'll be 11 different focus groups that people can join. 3 different student ones, middle school, high school, and then 2 different elementaries. A parent and community one, which is the really big one, on September 25th at 6:30 here in the media center. We'll blast this out to everybody, but we do want folks to know that that's going to be all comers, anyone who wants to come. We'll have an administrative one. We'll have one just for the school committee. We'll have one just for Bourne town officials, elected officials, anyone who's kind of in the town of Bourne governance structure. We'll also have 3 for staff, and that will be at the different schools, and so that we can meet any time that they can come, be after school. And then lastly, we'll have one for alumni. So we really hope that alumni of all different time periods come out and give us their input. So that's kind of the first part of the process, and what we'll get is all of the information back and organized with themes. They'll also put out a huge survey that will be for all these different stakeholders. So again, if people can't make it to the focus groups, they can answer the survey. If you can do those, that's just fine. After that, on October 16th, we start our strategic planning steering committee. And that will be a group of about 24 to 25 people, so it's a rather large steering committee. But again, we're looking for representation from students. There'll be 3 students on it, 2 high school, 1 middle school. There'll be folks from the town and town governance. There'll also be Bourne select folks to them, administrators, teachers, parents, and ultimately it comes out to be about 24 to 25 people. That group will meet monthly and take all this information that's being given to us by facilitators and start to craft our plan. The goal is to have a plan drafted by April. So that again, as we go into all the planning for next year, we're ready to hit the ground running. So they will come to probably the May 1st meeting, the first one in May, so we have 2, definitely be the first one, and they will present all of it and show you the whole plan and let you go with it. So, pretty exciting. If you can't tell, I'm a little excited. But I think the takeaway for everyone is please give your input. We are building a school system that's innovative, that's progressive, that's reimagining education, but we really need everyone's input into where we want to go next and how we want to do that together. So that's the report on that. All right. So one last little piece for my part of the update. As Chairman Berry knows, we are entering into negotiations with all of our unions. The BEA and Emily, myself, and some administrators have also met to kind of talk about logistics. So by like a consensus vote, we've decided to enter into negotiations, ESPs first, AAs, and then teachers, and then hopefully we'll meet with our AFSCME folks, our custodians, and do negotiations with them. So I think we're off to a good start. Looking forward to working with people, and hopefully, I'm not going to jinx it by saying when we'll be done, but I do think that if we just move right along and work on big issues together, we'll be able to complete it with plenty of time to do budget planning. So that's my piece of the report. And then I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Starkey for teaching and learning.
All right, so I'm going to put you in the Wayback Machine, way back to this past summer. I feel a little bit like Addie does. We've only been here 8 or 9 days, but it feels like we've been here a long time. So I agree with you, Addie, in a very positive way. We've been here a long time. But this summer we hosted 3 enrichment programs. Our first program was a kindergarten readiness program. Ms. Lisa Green was a teacher in that program. We had 11 students who attended, and it was really an orientation and overview to what it's like to be a kindergartner. A good number of the kids in the program hadn't been to pre-K or to any other daytime programs, so it was nice to see them getting oriented to the school, and I thank Lisa Green for her dedication to that program. If you'd click the slide. Our second program was an Amazing Me Wellness program that was run by Jennifer Ward. That hosted students from kindergarten to 5th grade, and it was a blend of outdoor learning, indoor learning, and some cooking classes to get kids thinking about wellness, all different ways that they can keep themselves in good spirit, good mind, and good body. And I thank Mrs. Ward for running that program. And our third and final enrichment program was a musical theater program. And that was Mrs. Rebecca Salgado, who teaches over at the middle school. She ran that program. The students were in grades 6 through 12. She had 22 students. It's the 3rd year in a row we've had over 20 students in that program, and more than half of these students have participated at least once before. So they came back. That was a 4-week summer program. The kids learn everything about musical theater from, picking songs all the way through set design, costuming, and everything in a 4-week intensive program. It's great. The kids love it. It culminates with an ending performance, largely for families and community members. From what I hear, it was well attended. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there myself. One thing that was of note in this program, the day before their summer performance, these kids got on a bus and went over to BES and gave a full performance for our students in our ESY program. And that was a big hit. I want to thank Jessie Clements, who's here. I neglected to mention her the other day, but Jessie helped out arranging that and going over with the kids for the performance along with Mrs. Salgado. I thank Mrs. Salgado for her running of this program. We're looking forward to summer enrichment again. We did send out a survey to all of our families who are involved. We received some really positive feedback, some suggestions, and some recommendations for new courses. So stay tuned. Somewhere around January or February, we'll start talking about summer enrichment again. And I'd just like to shout out to the administrators who, although it's summer, have students in their buildings and still have their administrator hats on, making sure that, safety is paramount and that our kids are well cared for over the summer.
Nice.
So that's summer enrichment. If I could, through the chair, I have two other things that Dr. Joe has asked me to talk about. One was our kickoff to the school year, our full PD day. Very exciting day. I, for one, was really glad when it was here because we did an awful lot of work to get it going. We kicked off with a full PD day for our instructional staff. So all of our teachers and then all of our service providers were here on ground. We hosted a full day of industry-led and peer-led technology workshops, all under our PD umbrella of making connections. The idea of building connections and strengthening existing connections with our students, our teachers, to one another, and with our families in the community. So we did that through the lens of technology. And then the day ended with a footnote speaker instead of a keynote speaker, and that was Pam Garamone. She's a local motivational speaker. We've had excellent feedback from our staff on how the day went. And I just would like to, I have a list of people I want to read because I'd like to publicly acknowledge how many people it took to get the lift off the ground for that day. So I'd certainly like to thank Lisa Dix, Jesse Clemens, and Chris Oliver. I'd also like to thank Nick Uchkunis and Deb Bisnet and the entire VPS custodial staff because we had to have the buildings ready even earlier and we ran this thing all over campus, so there were lots of rooms that were prepared for it. I'd also like to thank our administrative staff for helping to support the effort. And then we have a high volume of staff who engaged in presentations, peer presentations, and that's not always an easy thing to do, to stand up in front of your peers and give a workshop. So I'd like to acknowledge Kate Hartley, Kristen Donahue, Kim Iannucci, Terry Donovan, Bill Dow, Anne Marie Strode, John Leroy, Christina Ierardi, Taylor Merklin, Kelly Wells, Michael Smith, Hannah Walsh, Mary Weatherby, and Lisa Dix. So it was an excellent day, and I thank everybody for their part in getting it off the ground. I think it contributed to the positive start we had this school year.
Sounds like it.
And
Thank
then-
you to you, Dr. Starkey,
Yeah,
for all of your hard work.
And hard work.
You're welcome. And then our last shout out here, certainly not, I don't mean last in that it's not significant, but I'd like to recognize BMS, the middle school, was recently declared an official 23-24 Special Olympics Massachusetts Unified Champion School. And I'd like to thank KT Alexander and all of our assistant unified coaches and our student athletes and their parents, and certainly the administration at BMS.
That's awesome.
Great. Yeah, that was exciting.
And that's what I have for you.
All right.
All right, to Mr. Geist.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. Just got a couple shout outs myself for some people to start off. Transportation-wise, huge thank you to Sue Downing, our transportation coordinator. She has about a 3.5 week window to get all the kids into her system after we roll over Power School. So she works 14, 15 hours a day to get those routes ready by the start of school. It's a huge undertaking.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to thank her for all of her hard work. Of course, another huge thank you to, of course, all of our drivers for the dedication and commitment to every single one of the 1,200 plus kids that they're responsible for safely driving to and from school each day. This year we're running the same amount of buses as last year. That's 18 for the high school and middle school routes. We've got 227 high school students, 333 middle schools. Those are combined routes. We have 9 buses running for BIS with about 333 riders and 9 for Bourne with 329 and 6 mini buses that serve BES and BIS as well. A little aside, not really connected to facilities, but I also need to give a huge thank you to Darlene Grealish, who is our food service director from Chartwell's, whose last day is next Thursday, September 19th. She's very excited to be retiring and to start some new adventures with her and her husband. During her 10-year tenure here at Bourne, she was committed to providing quality meals to our students, both through the food service programs at each school, and she was very committed to the backpack program as well. Her replacement, Christopher Cushman, began his transition to Bourne from New Bedford schools on the first day of school, and I look forward to working with him because he has some very big shoes to fill. Of course, I also have to do a huge thank you to the maintenance and custodial staff for all their hard work. Getting the schools and grounds ready for the opening day. Outstanding job as usual. And That's about it for my brief report.
Will you say something about the bus drivers? We have the friendliest, happiest bus drivers. So I've been walking every morning, and they're like, hi. They're so friendly.
Do they give hugs?
What was that?
Do they give hugs?
No, they don't stop, but they're so friendly. They're so awesome. I get so excited when I see them. We have a good bunch.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mr. Oliver.
Thank you, Dr. Young. I would also like to start off with some shout-outs. First of all, I'd like to thank Teresa Vicente. She is our resident data person, our resident Power School person. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to close out the school year, report all that data. There's probably around 150 to 200 fields of data between students and staff that gets reported to DESE, and that all gets most of that gets published into the school district profiles on the DESE website. So without her, we would certainly be we'd be hurting, let's put it that way. So I thank Teresa for all the hard work that she's put in. I also like to shout out to Nick Fuchikunis, our systems administrator, as well as Deb Bisnet, who make up the technology department along with myself. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes over the summer. A lot of people take for granted. When you click on the Google icon or the Chrome icon, that the internet just shows up and works. And there's certainly a lot more to that. So they are out straight over the summer, and I would just like to highlight some of the projects that we went over this summer. So starting off with, we worked with Verizon to move our existing copper lines to Fios fiber optics. All the school buildings on the Cape side have been completed. We're waiting on Verizon engineering for Bournedale. Set up, configured, and implemented a townwide radio communication systems for district use. Met with interim fire chief Polonzi to integrate Bourne fire rescue commanders with our Crisis Go application, and continuing to work with Bourne Fire to have access to our new radio system. Also working in collaboration with Chief Esip to secure FirstNet cellular repeaters for dead spots in our schools. The shipment recently was received on that. We're hoping to get that fully functional at the end of this month. Installed approximately 35 Chrome bases in our academic classrooms at Bourne Middle School, along with another 20 new laptops and desktops for our new administration staff and teaching staff. Sorted and repaired close to 100 Chromebooks. We moved and reconfigured our graphic design studio, the former iStudio at the high school. We moved that from one room to another. And I'd also like to say a huge thank you to Ted Buckley in the facilities department. He does all of the electrical work, and we're very fortunate to have him, and he just does a tremendous job there. Renewed and procured subscriptions for all our licenses, technology, software, and appliances. Completed cybersecurity testing with the Massachusetts Executive Office of Technology Services and Security. This is the first step in a grant process for a $25,000 cybersecurity grant through the Massachusetts Cyber Center. We also received E-rate approval for new Wi-Fi at Bournedale. 60% of that project, which is about $21,000, will come from federal funds. And a couple of other things, last but not least, we assisted with the migration of our IEP program from EastMed to Power School. That was definitely a big collaboration with our special education department here in Bourne. We also implemented a new mass notification system that integrates with Power School for your email, for mass emails and telephone calls for emergencies and other types of notifications. And that's just a quick synopsis of what we did over the summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a lot.
Please keep in mind that we is 3 people. It's Chris, Deb Bisnet, and Nick Uchkunas. It's an unbelievable amount of work if I can interject there for 3 people.
Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so lastly, for the superintendent's report, before we get into the improvement plans, Kristen Donahue has information on extended school year and then some really exciting things about tiered focus monitoring and our indicators. So Kristen, I did link this. I'll just scroll through if you don't want to talk right from it.
Sure. So I just put some things just to capture on our ES1 program. The program ran for about 5 weeks. We do have weekly themes.
This year, we were able to partner with our before and after school program champions for what they did in the summer called Champion. We had some students participating in pre-vocational skills with them and some social skills carryover, so it was a great experience for them, positive feedback for there. Thank you to all the amazing clinicians that worked the program, from speech, occupational therapy, our physical therapists, our medical services, so they were all infused throughout the program. And of course, our teachers and our ESPs. We had approximately 50 students per week, approximately 6 classrooms, and then we also had the addition of elementary and secondary tutoring sessions, which came in on Thursdays. So this is our 18 to 22 population that was housed here at the high school, and because this is where they are during the school year, it just makes sense, their vocational stuff. So they stay here, but they were out and about in the community as they should be. They volunteered at the canal and Cape Cod Kids Meals, Scenic Park. Some of them had jobs that were able to continue over there. They worked on shopping and literacy, financial literacy skills that go with that. So, and most of all, they were happy and had some good experiences too. So, just some of the events, again, the partnership with Enrichment was very well received. That was great. And yes, we still focused on math and English. So overall, I thought it was a very successful. We got positive feedback from ESY. I too want to send out some sincere thank yous, obviously, to Principal Carpenito. She always welcomes and is so supportive of having us in the building. So it is very much appreciated in that the custodial staff, it works around us, and just that's a huge undertaking when you're trying to prepare a building for the close of a school and the start of, and so that is amazing and so appreciated. Sue Downing, again, working on transportation for us with an even smaller window when we close school to the start of ESY to get that all in place. I do want to thank Sam Fasoli. She was really instrumental. We had a social skills component of the program that was embedded this year because, as you know, we transitioned from the Y and housed all our social skills programs within district. And she was amazing in creating and fostering and developing some of those outreach things that happened. Champions, obviously, for that partnership, as well as Rebecca Soccato for showcasing her work with us. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Kate Hartley, who is instrumental in keeping all of the kids and the program up afloat. Even though Melissa Sieto and Karen Paulson are no longer with us, they were significant in helping us organize and get this program up and running, and obviously Tara continuing with all of that. So overall, I thought it was a very successful, well-received program. So then I'll just keep going. So while that was all happening, we had some indicators that we had to complete, and just to I'll kind of put them all together. But basically, these are federal indicators that are really related to compliance. Things about IEPs and when meetings were held, when parent consent came in, and how quickly we have our evaluations done, and we meet those things. These 3 indicators are in relation to new referrals. For 2 of them are for pre-K, and then one is for K through 12. So what happens is we have to submit a list and the dates and basically a spreadsheet, and they check our work. And we came back, we were in 100% compliance in all the areas, so in all 3 indicators. So that was amazing. So good work to the special education teams, the administrators, everything that makes that happen. It's not just one person that does all of that. So I was very pleased.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I have a question that I'm not sure if newer members know this. So the indicators that are selected, are they selected randomly?
In this particular one, yes.
And so how often do you need to
Duties, reports.
So there's a couple different parts. As you know, we're involved in a TFM. So this was kind of like a precursor of the TFM. So basically it's every 3 years, but they have different focus every time they come in the rotation. So some will be compliance, some will be building structures to make sure that we have special ed students in spaces throughout the building, not in isolated spaces. So it really depends on how we are in the rotation of what DESI sets for us.
And this is all districts have this?
All districts, yeah.
Just wanted to clarify in case that's good. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And then the other piece of big kind of wrapping up summer news and continuing into the fall, so our self-assessment is due on September 20th. So again, further, a little bit more state-oriented indicators than federal indicators. But that's coming up and getting ready for that submission, so more to come.
Great, thank you, Kristen. So now I'd like to transition into our school improvement plans. So we'll start with Bourne. I believe everyone's coming up together somehow. Again, some of our folks are over at the National Night Out, which is great, but I think that they're ready to take it away. Yeah, so Dr. Stark, you would like to give a preface.
Just so that you're aware, some of the information in the end-of-year section for the school improvement plan, so how we ended with those goals for last year, is embargoed because it's related to MCAS. So because we don't want to overstep and have anybody say anything accidentally that they shouldn't say, the principals are going to be presenting tonight just this year's plan. You, as school committee members, have access to a copy of the plan that has the end-of-year data in it. The public will receive that information when we post everything on our website as soon as everything's not embargoed anymore. So you'll just be hearing the plan for this year.
I'm really proud of these plans, and there was so much thought and work put into them. I know I can't say that enough. They'll tell you how it was created, but we are truly at 1-year plans with some very, very distinct action in them. So Liz is ready to take it away. Mrs. Carpenito?
Well, I appreciate you saying that because I know I'm very difficult to work with through the drafts of these.
That's great.
Yeah, I start really big, but I think the bigger problem with that is there's so many amazing things going on, and I would definitely be remiss if I don't talk about the teachers in this, because the ideas, the work, the groundwork, everything comes from them. So, and I think where I struggle is you want everyone to know everything that's going on. You want everybody to know all the great work. So reining it in for me sometimes gets really difficult. But we've done it, so we're here. So the goals tonight really do build upon everything that we've been working on. And while you'll see a lot of similarities, there are also those kind of deeper delves into the goals and taking it to that next level. And while we'll talk about it a little bit more with one of our schools specifically, but we always try to maintain teaching 2 grades that are always coming in brand new and kind of getting things for the first time, while also trying to keep things fresh for the other 2 grades that have already been through it, and we've had them for 1st and 2nd grade. So we've talked about too, even with the difficult topic of the Suicide Prevention Month, but a lot of those goals for us are really teaching kids to be healthy and happy, active learners, and looking at that whole student and our building culture at the same time. So poor Mrs. McLaughlin and Mrs. Burns were not a part of this whole process, but they've certainly dove right in, not only in both of their roles, just being a part of the building and seeing how things are running. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Burns first for one of our goals.
Sure. I get to tell you about goal number 1, which is the school improvement goal in math. The goal is by June of 2025, the K-2 classrooms will implement math workshop 3 times per week, with the goal of having 75% of students performing at or above grade level in mathematics. This goal was formatted to create challenging educational opportunities for students, extend student thinking, and maximize mathematical achievement for students through Tier 1 instruction. To support the goal, the school will continue developing common assessments and benchmarks. Allison Mello will assist in launching a fluency plan and creating a sample folder of number sense routine for use in math workshops. Additionally, teachers will analyze happy numbers data during common planning time to inform instruction and support small group work within the workshop model. This work will be most visible in the daily classroom instruction, the materials that are purchased and created, and in the WIN groupings. I'm going to turn it over to Ellen.
Former teacher of math workshop. It is one of my favorite things, and it just lends itself so well to early childhood development, so I love that goal. So goal number 2 is our literacy goal. Our goal is by June 2025, 80% of our students will be reading at or above grade level. This goal has been created regardless of student need and in order to assist in closing those gaps in reading instruction related to a lack of readiness skills students are exhibiting. To achieve this goal, school will enhance its data-driven approach by analyzing those benchmark assessments to inform our intervention groups during our WIN period. Common planning time will be used to identify the instructional trends across grade levels, driving those targeted teaching strategies, and our data and literacy teams will meet monthly to support the effectiveness of WIN interventions. Ongoing professional development around ARC, around UDL, co-teaching, writing, and phonics, particularly for our early elementary school, will continue to be integrated into instruction, such as the library media center time in the master schedule for access to literacy materials. Turn it over to Liz for number 3.
So our third one really kind of focuses on our diversity, equity, social emotional learning, and the culture as a whole. The work with, as we were saying earlier, kind of keeping things fresh for our students who have been there, because this goal really kind of focuses on our B2B again and teaching those core values and getting students ready to be those active learners in the classroom. But again, keeping things fresh and keeping things kind of updated for our first and second grade students. So this year, our school theme, you guys know we love a good theme at Bourne-Dale. So we are Show Your True Colors at Bourne-Dale. And this always comes up, about through our second grade student council, which is amazing because they always take feedback throughout the year, and they put so much effort and thought into what the theme is going to be. And last year's group really kind of took it to the next level because there were so many conversations about our vision of a graduate for Bourne-Dale and what goals and traits they needed to have in order to leave Bourne-Dale when they left, that they want all the kids to kind of have those same traits. And that was taken a step further with our career fair because they focus on occupations and work in the community. So when we did the Show Your True Colors at Bourne-Dale, of course it was great because we all had our rainbow gear from years before, so we thought that was great. But they embedded 6 character traits into the rainbow. So with that, they wanted the beginning of each month to focus on one of those traits. So we just finished this, past Monday was the first Monday of the month. So our first trait to review was trustworthiness. So we put the word into, kid-friendly language, and we give them a challenge of how they can show that they're trustworthy and trustworthy people that they have in their lives so that they understand what those traits mean. And then for October, it will be responsibility and so on. So it's just a nice way to kind of take the themes that we've been running the past few years to another level for the kids and for the staff. The staff, again, we can't say enough, have really taken that and run with it. They're creating lessons all over the place. There's challenges all over the building. So they really have taken it to that next level. It also really helps us, again, that we were talking about, for kids to identify those traits within themselves, because a lot of kids are missing that piece. So it creates that whole learner and a healthy learner, but also to know who those people are in their lives. So it's a twofold component for them to have those qualities as learners. And that is our school improvement plan for the year. Does anybody have any questions about the Bourne-Dale plan?
It sounds so great. That's really exciting.
Thank you. Andrew.
Over to Bourne Committee.
It's very thorough, looking at the plan. I mean, it is really very thorough.
And while BIS comes up, as a reminder, especially for our new folks, Addie and Kat, behind this plan is a whole other, level of planning through metrics documents, things we update, every few months. So it's kind of the behind the scenes, like these are, even though they're discrete, they're still big level topics. And so, we really track that way, and we all meet with the principals every now and then to say, how's it going? Are you making some progress? Where can we go from here? So this is the public-facing document, but do know there's a few more layers that go into this. Noelle, welcome.
Thank you. And I have to say, this is my first official business being here. So thank you, everybody. Before I get started, I do want to also do some shout-outs, only because I'm being so new and having a brand-new team here. There are a couple of people. Sue Downing actually is the first that comes to mind. We had 2 kiddos that had mixed communication with transportation going home, ending up in the office for a little bit, having a snack. Long story short, they didn't have a ride home, so Sue at 4:15 had buses coming back to pick up these kiddos. And when we went out to see the bus, the 2 bus drivers that were there, all knew them. So the welcoming, they told me a VIP ride home. The hugs, it was moving to see the true dedication and love that goes into it. And then the other I have to say is the IT department. I've had many conversations with Deb, who kind of lives sometimes at BIS, I feel, and she has been there at the drop of a dime. So I can't go without thanking them. And as I start to talk about the improvement plan, I have to mention there is one person who was instrumental in my work all summer, and that is Lisa Dix. Without Lisa, I don't think I would have been able to uncover as much data and information in regards to BIS as I was able to with her help. We are obviously a brand new leadership team, and we rely a lot on Lisa's wealth of knowledge. And so she is currently making, well, probably done now, but making s'mores at National Night, taking one for the team, making lots of s'mores for everybody. So with that being said, when you see our first goal, I'm a believer of building a baseline and learning a lot of what has been done in the past in order to move and continue to grow in the future. And so what you'll see with our goal number 1, it is focused on building community, and it is just that. It is determining a baseline of where BIS is and the systems that are in place in order to continue to support a positive school culture and community. And so through our MTSS team, which has been growing exponentially, and I'm thrilled with that, we're able to meet with them and discuss some of the plans that we have and how they're going to help support that. And you'll see we're starting actually with just this week, we're sending out a survey to all staff members as well as families to hear from them on where they are in regards to BIS and supporting as a positive school community and culture. So that's something that we're going to be doing 3 times a year, and we're actually kicking that off at the end of this week, which I'm really excited about. Our MTSS team, like I said, has already met once already, is going to be meeting monthly to discuss these findings as well as past practices that have been done at BIS in regards to the social emotional well-being, the communication, the collaboration with all stakeholders, and so on and so forth. We are also going to be holding monthly caregiver meetings, and that is to also bring in families and partners so that we can hear, kind of really get a dipstick of how we're doing in supporting all of our families within BIS. I had mentioned I'm a huge data person, so with all of that, we're going to be analyzing this qualitative and then quantitative data that we'll be collecting through the use of Swiss. I love Swiss. I've used Swiss for years, so I'm super excited to be able to use Swiss to gather and collect student behavioral data. And when I look at student behavioral data, I look at it from the why of the behaviors happening. So we're using that data to also uncover what is happening beneath the surface of our kiddos so that we can then provide supports and interventions and learn new behaviors so that we can have a successful
school experience as well as skills that will extend out into the community. At the end of this year, my hope is, or my goal is to have a comprehensive plan that will include all of this information that we're gathering from data to resource mapping that will then be able to outline next steps for the next couple of years in regards to continuing this tradition of positive school culture and stepping into some big shoes to fill. So I know that this is going to be some exciting times. So I'm going to turn it over to Ellen, who's actually going to talk about goal number 2.
Hello again. So our goal number 2 is focused on promoting equity, and within that, our goal is to, by June of 2025, that 80% of our students at Bourne Intermediate in grades 3 through 5 will demonstrate meeting or exceeding the expectations on the ELA MCAS. So doing that through really kind of breaking down the win blocks for this school year, and especially with Noelle and I being new, our teachers are really on board of really defining what that looks like at BIS. And we're spending time on it, right, because we want to make sure that we're doing this right and we're giving those kiddos what they need. Reviewing benchmark data, so our triannual benchmarks that we do, reviewing those and really looking at where the kiddos are and then continuing throughout the school year to do that. Having these discussions through our MTSS team, our data team, and our weekly CPT time, really honing in on those skills that those kiddos need, and then transferring that into the classroom instruction. That's kind of where, yeah. Now I'm going to go back.
And the last one that we were focusing on was striving for excellence. And similar to Ellen when she mentioned math workshop, I also come from former school districts that use math workshop, so this to me is a super exciting place to step into. So we are also going to be looking at MCAS data at the end of the year for our goals. So our goal is that 80% of our students will be meeting or exceeding expectations on the math MCAS. And in order to get there, we're really going to be honing in on our math workshop practices. Again, I have to say Lisa Dix is instrumental in this work. The actions that we're going to be using to accomplish these goals are really going to be looking at professional development to provide differentiated instruction to meet the diverse needs of our students. And we're going to be utilizing Allison Mello to support that. We're also going to be looking at increasing math workshop within the classroom. So when we walk around through the school, we'll be looking at classrooms increasing from math workshop model once a week to seeing it 3 times a week by the end of the year. I have to say, just in walking around classrooms already, the teachers are so excited about math workshop, they're already at 3 to 5. They are so excited. You can see the excitement in regards to the differentiated instruction piece and the kids getting up and moving and the organized chaos, like I like to call it. With that, we're also going to be looking at, again, the data to help drive that instruction. So the common assessments is going to be another focus that we're going to be looking at. And how can we then take that instructional information, that data, to then further differentiate the instruction to meet the students' needs. And we'll be doing that through the use of CPT time with Lisa as well. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Let's welcome up Team BMS, led by Christine Borning. I think you can see some common themes. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to have common themes.
Yeah, no, that's
Right, but it's
cohesive, yeah.
But it meets the needs of the grade levels at each building.
Yes,
It's great.
yeah.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. So at the middle school, similar to the BS and BIS, we work together to build our School improvement plans, really looking at MCAS data, benchmark data, classroom formative and summative data, as well as our vocal data, which is the school culture data that comes back with MCAS, and of course, student, teacher, and caregiver feedback. I'm going to speak to our first two goals together. They're kind of parallel goals. One is that we will achieve 80%, students will achieve 80% proficiency on math MCAS, and the other is 80% on ELA. 80% of students will achieve proficiency. While there are many measures of success, particularly for middle school students, MCAS scores continue to be one measurable indicator of student growth and achievement that we are all looking at. We see our students demonstrating high levels of academic success in the classroom. Our civic action projects we know are outstanding. We have amazing arts productions, and we know that they're successful as they move forward into high school. We want to see that success translate on the MCAS and our other standardized assessments as well. So we're really focusing on this. The goal, again, is for 80% of our students to achieve meeting or exceeding in math and ELA on the MCAS. We do know this is a lofty goal, but we believe that it is imperative to focus on all of our students demonstrating mastery of grade level content in all areas. It's not new work. You'll see a lot from our previous SIPs. However, it is work that we're taking on with an increased intensity and focus. Bessie's going to speak to you about some of the curriculum components.
So in my role as curriculum director at the middle school, again, Peer 1 instruction is the focus. We've done a really nice job of being able to provide, again, PD in math with Allison Mello. You heard a lot about Math Workshop, right? She's really digging into the middle school. A woman named Karen Rose, who has been a science consultant helping at the high school, she's coming down to the middle school as well to really focus in on the science practices and what teachers are doing with their classroom instruction every day. In history, we are going into years 2 and 3 of an investigating history resource that we're going to provide time for our teachers to dig into. And then just really thoughtful professional development and really focusing even on academic skills in our unified arts classrooms, in our music, in our band, in our theaters, just really holding our students to high expectations. Curriculum time, teachers at each of the grade levels are able to meet with me once during a 7-day cycle. And so again, like that is time where we can look at all different kinds of data. We have students doing IXL diagnostics. Of course, when MCAS data becomes available, that's something we can dig into, and just classroom data, entry tickets, exit tickets, things like that, to make sure that our students, again, like being successful in the classroom and then carrying over to some of those larger summative assessments. And also just really the focus on a true solid scope and sequence, that we're kind of organizing things among all the different content, so scope and sequence and a commitment to the resources that we're able to provide. Good, Kate?
They said they were going to take the paper, but neither one of them has, so we'll see. You're not going to hear any new information from me. You all know that we've been really committed to a co-teaching model, and it's something that the middle school has been really working on refining for a long time, right? And just because Deb Harris is no longer with us as a consultant, her practices kind of remain. So at the middle school, we've really focused on increasing time to ensure that our co-teachers are able to have some real dedicated co-planning time that's specific to ensuring that the students with special needs in their classrooms are getting the differentiation they need in order to achieve some of these goals. Additionally, we're going to continue to implement the RISE strategies that our teachers learned by having myself and the other administrators kind of serve as consultants also and coaches for some of the RISE strategies and making sure that the co-teaching is working towards best practices for everyone. In addition to that, we really do see about, and this isn't, again, new information, we do see a value in co-teaching and supported classrooms, and we have been able to increase some of our supports within the classrooms to ensure that even some of our students that maybe aren't on IEPs or aren't on 504s are able to access some of the supports that come when you have 2 teachers in a classroom. I know it's brief and it's not a ton of new information, but that's pretty much what I have to share. And the last component of both of these 2 goals would be the component that the administrative team has supported
predominantly data collection and data analysis. Our MTSS and data teams, which are both dedicated teams of educators, they're also a large part of the goal. They are looking at data regularly and working to identify and implement effective strategies to increase student achievement. Those two teams have already had their first joint meeting. They've already both left with long task lists, really digging into the work. In addition to our Galileo benchmarks, we are also using IXL within the WIN classroom and sometimes in the regular class as well, which provides daily progress monitoring around foundational skills. And our admin team has an increased focus on walkthroughs and observations and providing growth-producing feedback for our teachers. I think that's something that all practicing educators deserve, to receive a lot of rich feedback about their practice. So we've committed to that as well. And also just, really keeping an eye on and being able to acknowledge when all the things we just talked about are happening, when there is that commitment to the scope and sequence, when there is that commitment to math workshop, that we're able to celebrate those things along with our teachers. So that is goals 1 and 2. And then our third goal, really looking at 2 pieces of data when we were considering this goal. We are continuing always to look at our Swiss data and supporting students who maybe are having more challenges with staying in the classroom, remaining regulated in the classroom. They're receiving multiple referrals. We're also looking at our vocal data, which by and large is incredibly positive at the middle school. We get a lot of really positive cultural feedback from our students that they feel really welcomed and accepted by their teachers, and really even that their student-to-student interactions are positive. But we did see an area of opportunity in student engagement and student voice in the classroom. So looking at those 2 things together, students who are not able to remain in the classroom as successfully, and looking at putting supports in place for them both through classroom engagement and also through additional strategies within the strategies room and that. So you're gonna.
So in order to come up with some of this data analysis, we are using Swiss to identify students who have maybe more referrals. And with the number of referrals, like also looking at our Swiss meetings, which are held, once a cycle, right? Through the Swiss meetings to identify the supports and strategies of the students required to stay in the classroom, stay engaged in the classroom, and what supports and strategies that all of our students can benefit from to keep everyone kind of happy and engaged when they're in there, so that they want to be there, so they want to come to school.
And again, I think from my role in supporting teachers is, again, like really solid instructional strategies that, as Christine mentioned, like if we're walking through classrooms and we see something positive, we can share that with other teachers to say, hey, here's how X student is able to behave well and stay engaged in the classroom.
And I think this last component of the goal really is with Mr. Lundell as well, and a lot of the work that he's very passionate about, so I don't want to forget to call him out. He is making those s'mores tonight and handing out prizes. But he has been incredibly committed to ensuring that students who are sent out of class are engaged in restorative practices along with traditional discipline practices, so that they might be having a meeting with their counselor, having a meeting with the teacher, really reflecting on what happened, how things might be different, and then also developing curriculum for students to support really high-quality decision-making and making safe and healthy decisions as they grow through middle school. One of the things we know is that middle school students make mistakes. That's great. They should be. We want to support them in making fewer mistakes as they grow older. So that is our third goal. Thank you.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we're welcoming Team BHS up. And you can imagine, Mr. Dean is making s'mores and handing out prizes, so we do want to be there, actually. I know, we all wanted to be there.
You have 6 minutes to get there.
I know. I was like, let's hurry up now. We'll bring s'mores to the next meeting. As soon as you're ready, we're ready for you.
Hi again. Hello. So I just want to start by saying we have so many people that have been part of this plan. Our teachers, our data team, MTSS, our school council have all been instrumental in developing this plan. I think for our teachers, the openness and willingness to talk about change and growth, coming in new last year, being able to have those conversations about, where we can stretch and where we can grow has been very powerful, and I have to give them so much credit for the willingness to try new things, to feel some discomfort together, and to do what's best for kids at the heart of all of our conversations and the work that we do, and I think that that comes into this plan. So our first goal is striving for excellence through academics and strengthening our Tier 1 instruction and increasing student discourse, with student proficiency showing results in the 80% range for meeting and exceeding expectations. This is the goal that has our students really talking about and engaging in academic content in their classes, understanding what the targets are and being able to self-gauge and have conversations with their peers and with their teachers about, am I meeting that? Where am I at in the learning process? And how do I become the individual who's in charge of my learning experience? And being able to find comfort for both our students and our teachers with the productive struggle, so that it is okay to let kids wrestle with academic concepts, to support them and encourage them and design instructional activities that really allow them to take ownership of their learning, to understand that learning is more than just the facts and the memorization and then the rote memory that we lose, but really the context and the process that we can keep with us and apply across domains.
I think real similarly to some of the things I said, how I'm able to support teachers at the middle school, at the high school, again, meeting with each department once a cycle during common planning time. Again, we have a lot of professional development, content-specific for our teachers. Again, Karen Rose, Allison Mello, some specific coaching for a variety of different departments. I failed to mention for the middle school, but also at the high school, the English teachers have received professional development around the newer Springboard resource, and now this is a year that they can really dig into those reading and literacy skills. MCAS analysis will come into play too, and again, like I'm sure Dr. McGuire can speak to, some of our walkthrough data that we're going to be collecting as well to just give that immediate teacher feedback to do what's best for our students.
So we did start that process last year with 3 questions that as an administrative team, we go into classrooms and we gather that data and report it out on a weekly basis. And then our data team is also part of kind of how we workshop with our teachers in faculty meetings, taking that data, drilling it down, being able to connect that to a strategy for how we implement and what we do back in the classroom. So the walkthrough data, again, is connected to these goals of student discourse, of those student-friendly objectives that kids know what they're trying to learn about and what they're looking to master, and that we give that feedback to our teachers right away. And so it's not, we're not questioning, we're really continuously working and chipping away at, meeting the goals and making this a lived document and not just something that we, bring out once a year and then report out on.
And I guess the way that special education maybe has been most effective at the high school is at this point in time, all of our students, every single one of them, has access to general education teachers that are trained in the subject content that they're teaching. So at no point do we have just special education teachers teaching the subject matter anymore, which is fabulous growth, even if you're in an intensive learning center, which is pretty awesome. In addition to that, we're going to continue to support co-teaching through just like we are at middle school, with a little bit more of a focus on some modeling. With the new IEP comes a lot of, I know change is hard for people because it's been a document for a very long time, but there's a lot of opportunities in it to really focus on student voice and what the students need and how they like to be supported. And for them at the high school level, at this point, they can really tell us. They can tell us what their preferences are, what works for them, what doesn't work for them, how they need you to help them, how many times they need to see you, and really letting our teachers kind of take a step back, our special education teachers, take a step back and just provide the supports the students need in order to be successful without really owning them and their educational experience in the same way they have previously has been a really awesome thing to be able to see. And we're continuing to do that this year through the work of this SIP.
I think it is important to note under this goal that as the high school, we also have the NEASC accreditation process. That is something that we're working toward. So every 10 years, NEASC comes in and does a review of our programs in our school. And a part of looking at our curriculum is making sure that everything is documented, making sure that what we teach is what is written, and what is written is useful to our teachers. So that's part of this process, reviewing that curriculum, reviewing our resources and our commitment to the standards, and that also will set us up for success in the next couple of years as we seek to gain reaccreditation. So in the second goal, this is very exciting. Last year, we talked about expanding the internship program to 100% of seniors, and this year, 100% of seniors have an internship or capstone program. So with that growth, we did recognize that there are students who are hesitant to embark on our career opportunities and explorations because of the requirements in the innovation pathways, which are the 2 technical courses and the 2 advanced courses. Advanced placement does have a connotation and an expectation tied to it that some students feel is not appropriate, and when we do, not attainable. Not that it's appropriate, we want all of our students to reach. But when we look in a deeper dive in our numbers, we have 58 students on IEPs in the high school. We have 120 students who are receiving free or reduced lunch. But we had 6 students participate who were on an IEP last year in the pathways. We had 2 students who were free and reduced and on an IEP in the pathways, and 12 students who were free and reduced lunch participating. And those numbers don't match our selected populations. So what we want to do is increase the opportunities for all students to engage in a minimum of 1 career exploration or concentration of study by adding additional programs and opportunities such as early college, dual enrollment, and or a Chapter 74 program, resulting in an increase in the ICP participation of students in these populations. So we believe that if you have an interest and a passion in an area, we should have the programming and the coursework to support that interest and allow students to feel that efficacy and that experience of success. And that doesn't mean it has to be a one-size-fits-all and you must take 2 advanced placement courses to do that. We are so excited that we recently entered a partnership with Mass Maritime and submitted a grant for planning for an early college program with them, which would be in business and engineering. And with or without the grant, I think we've planted the seeds for a really strong partnership with them to explore our math curriculum and what we teach to students and where they end with their math skills, and then where they would need to pick up to be successful at Mass Maritime, building a partnership between our 2 departments, setting students up for future success in whether it's at Mass Maritime or beyond. But a program like that would be a 12 credit experience, and that really would give students that feeling of, I don't have to wonder if I can do college because I just did. I have been successful in that program, and there are many ways to do that, whether it's with Mass Maritime, and that is, start local. That's our, our hometown partner that we want to, be proud of and work closely with. But whether it's at 4 Cs and the 4 Cs to Bridgewater early education programs, or at Chapter 74 when we look at some of the marketing and the graphic design work that's happening here, we were very intentional about moving our studio to the innovation lab, which was underutilized. And we have students in there every day now looking at their graphic arts and their designs and saying, I can take this the next step and I can produce something, and I can take an idea and turn it into a reality. And now we're talking about giving them credit and allowing them partnerships and work outside of this high school that says, I can. So this is just, we're so excited about this goal. It's limitless, it's and or, because we might do all of them, we might do one of them, but we're certainly going to pursue them and look at every opportunity and advantage we can give our kids. And our third goal is around engaging students to increase active participation and engagement and to build that positive culture and climate, resulting in a decline of chronic absenteeism. So we made strides in this last year with a 6.7 decrease in chronic absenteeism at the high school. We still have a ways to go, and we want to get that number under 20%. And we want to increase the average daily attendance to 95%. We did also have increases in this area, and 3 of our 4 classes are in the 90 to 93% range, but we believe that at any given time, 95% of our buildings should be present in school. So that's the goal. You have to be on the job to do the job. We want our students to be excited to be here. We want them to feel comfortable, to feel belonging, to feel loved, to feel supported, and just really energized, and to have the connections to do that. And that is working with our MTSS team, working with our administrators, working with our counselors, working with our SROs, and really thinking creatively about how we support our kids. We did start an alternative program within our high school for students to gain work experience that's credited for some of our alternative learners who are looking really hard at, do I stay or do I go? And we want them to stay here. But the traditional school day is not working for them. So it's really just kind of being thoughtful and intentional and creative, that it is an individual program for all students, and that we hold them accountable to our standards, and we don't lower the bar, we raise the supports.
No, I mean, that was between all 4 schools. I mean, these are just...
Knocked your socks off.
Yes,
Yes, that's a good word, yeah.
So I do want to say a few words. I mean, I said it at the beginning, this is the work, it's built, this work was built over years. And it is year 3 of our district strategy. And that year, if you go back to the plan and look, it had a lot of continue to do this, because we had no idea how far we'd get. We got really far in a lot of things. But what you see in these plans, I think is so much thoughtful effort by so many people that kind of folded in, and they still will get unpacked even more at additional faculty meetings, at MTSS teams, at this team, at the data team. Like, so many people have their hand in the success of these plans. If you're wondering why 80% shows up so many times, I know that's probably a little question mark over your head. As educators, we say in high-performing schools that if you are meeting the needs of 80% of your kids, 80% of the time, you're meeting their needs. And so we really wanted to raise that bar. Now, unfortunately, the state hasn't unembargoed our scores yet. In some places, these are lofty goals. We might not get there at the end of this year, but we want to have these really high expectations. We want to shoot high, aim high. We know we will get there eventually. I really believe in these plans and the work that this team is going to do. So thank you for listening. I do hope that you'll vote them all in, and we're off to the races for this school year.
I'm not sure if anyone wants to say anything. I mean, I just want to say, obviously, as a school committee member, we appreciate the astronomical amount of work that these took. But as a parent, I'm so appreciative that you're looking at every aspect of education and mental health, and to just improve the education and the day-to-day life of every student here. So thank you very, very much to everyone involved in these plans. And I'm sure, I don't know if anyone wants to say anything or add anything. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Again.
The sense of belonging, though, I think that's just amazing. I think you guys do such a great job with that, so thank you.
So it's been, I'm sure, a very long day. So let's take this up as a vote right now, if that's okay. Okay? And we can vote these in.
Button, I don't know what you do.
We can vote these as one, right, as a slate?
Yes, I'm not sure what happened in here, and it's freezing on me. So hold on a second.
Because there isn't a vote listed?
No, there's something just happened in the agenda, so just give me a minute to figure it out. Are you in there? Because mine is showing up on the screen. You can go forward with the vote. It's just that something happened with the agenda with some notes getting inserted.
Okay. Anyone like to make a motion? So we need a motion to approve the school improvement plans for Bournedale, Bourne Intermediate School, Bourne Middle School, Bourne High School for the 24-25 school year.
There we go. Excellent. I don't even know what that was. That's all right. There we go. Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
I know, we need Maureen.
Okay, you can just say, okay, so we need a motion, I can make a motion, right? I'm going to make a motion to approve the school improvement plans for the school year 24-25 for Bournedale Elementary, Bourne Intermediate School, Bourne Middle School, and Bourne High School.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor of, we'll do a roll call vote for this since we're doing them as a slate, to approve the school improvement plans. Carrie?
Yes.
Patty? Yes. Hello? Yes. And I say yes, school improvement plans are all approved. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
And hopefully if you don't have to stay, you don't. You can leave.
We'll do the Bourne and Springfield field trip that way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Lisa McGuire.
So if
Yes.
we could, we do have events very quickly, and then if we
Sure.
could do the field trip vote, then they all can.
Yes, let's do
which
that.
would be
We'll
nice.
do that.
So I'll just do events very quickly. If no one has anything to say, you don't have to come up for this one. Normally, we would talk through all the events. But what I do want to show you, many of you have seen it, we do have a new calendar of events in list form. This is also going to be used for our media partners, so it does say what's open to the public, what the media is invited to, and so we do have them all kind of in a nice list, which is a really cool thing. And then we also have, for everyone to know, a live district calendar that's on our website. You can get to it in multiple ways. We put up some extra ways to get there, knowing that intuitively it's different for folks, but you'll see everything right there on the calendar if you just want to click onto it in the website and go forward in the months and what have you. We have all of our back-to-school nights. Basically, you'll see a lot of us here almost every Thursday, for me, for the next 8 weeks. Lots of great things happening, but we do have a really great new event called the Canal Walk. So our Building Bridges initiative is a nice catchphrase to say that we're really trying to build lots more engagement with our parents, with our community members, and so Lisa Dix is our champion of our Building Bridges initiative, and she's designed a canal walk on Thursday, September 19th at 10 a.m. with a rain date, and we do hope people come out, and it's really just to walk and talk. There'll be really famous people like me there, and other school administrators, and I believe Donnell and other folks. But we also invited DOT, folks from, when you look at it, you'll see all the different people that are coming. Safe routes to school, just kind of around that theme of, taking a walk on the canal. We just hope that people will engage with each other, get to know folks, and go for a walk with us. So, we'll have our really big events like our community resource fair coming up. Bourne Celebrates Everyone. We have all our open school nights. But this is a new way to just engage. We'll be happy if 5 people show up. But if 50 show up, that'll be really fun too. And so please come on out. It's for everybody.
Where can we find that?
It's been pushed out on Facebook so far. It'll be in the s'mores, and I'll push it out as well. So.
Okay,
brand new, just came out.
Facebook is one of those things that I have not seen that on Facebook.
Oh, I put it on Bourne Residents, but,
I've seen it.
yeah.
Facebook is funny, like you don't, sometimes you don't see everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes you don't see it, yeah.
But it's going out to all, it has been sent to all families.
It will be.
Okay, perfect.
You brand new, live, breaking action, first to know.
Okay, September 19th.
September 19th, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
We'll start pushing it out in our s'mores. A lot of our s'mores go out on Thursdays, am I
Perfect.
right, folks? Yeah, Thursdays and Fridays. Great. So if there's any other administrators that have anything big they need to talk about, otherwise we'll just keep rolling with the events. Seeing none? Okay, good. Great, thank you for that. So that's our preview, and then if we could just take up the vote for the field trip out of order, that'd be great. I want to thank all the administrators who came tonight. Feel free to exit stage left, and then, except for Lisa McGuire. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye, have a great
I
night.
do hope our volleyball folks are on their way. They're close.
I know.
They're coming. They're about 10 minutes out.
Okay, they're 10 minutes.
Very exciting.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, have a good night.
All right, so Lisa.
Hi.
Hi. So this is the volleyball trip that the team has taken over the past 2 years. They are hoping to go again to the International Hall of Fame for the Volleyball Classic over Columbus Day weekend on October 13th. They specifically will be competing. It's at American International College, and it's a competition against some of the best teams in the state,
and a great bonding opportunity for the team. The cost is approximately $2,000 for the lodging, the registration fee, and the meals for the team while they are at AIC. It is funded by the boosters, and coaches and parents will be present.
So because it's an overnight trip, it has to be voted on here.
Okay. The second time it's been presented.
Yep, it was presented last year. Because our team is so awesome, they get invited to these things.
It's just a one night, or is it a whole weekend?
I don't know what their accommodations are for. I know that they are slated to play between 8 and 2:15 on Sunday. There are also games on Monday. I don't know if they play or move on Monday or just observe on Monday, but I imagine they have to get there on Saturday evening to be ready to play, and then they might stay Sunday night. Right.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the AHS volleyball overnight trip to Springfield.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor of approving the overnight field trip for volleyball to Springfield?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Approved. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'll wait for the team.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, where are we? So we are at subcommittee reports. So curriculum subcommittee, I know curriculum just met yesterday. Karen?
Yes, actually, we're asked, we went over a new book that was approved for the yoga class, and was asked to, the curriculum committee approved it, so I was asked to bring it today, so that it could be officially approved by the school committee. It's called The Science of Yoga, Understand the Anatomy and Physiology to Perfect Your Practice. So Mr. Arky had done a lot of research and found that this book would be great to implement with his class and to use it
That's awesome.
to go with, what they are learning.
I'm a yoga student.
Oh, are you? So,
I'm taking yoga this semester, and I'm taking advanced yoga next semester.
well, you'll be using this book.
Have you seen the book?
No.
Oh, that's not, it looks fabulous.
So once we approve it, they'll order the copies and it will start to be implemented very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, this is amazing.
I make a motion to approve the instructional yoga book. All those in favor of approving the instructional yoga book?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. Yoga book is approved.
That's awesome.
Okay, anything else from the curriculum subcommittee?
Nope, that was the book that we went over some of the professional development and also the enrichment program, which we went over earlier tonight, so.
Nice. Thanks. Policy subcommittee has not met yet. We do have a list of some, MASC has updates for policies, so we're getting that together. We will be having a meeting before the end of the month. Budget and facilities, I think, Kendall?
Yes, so we have a lot going on budget and finance. So first one being that at BMS over the summer, one of the chillers stopped working. It definitely needs to be replaced. At subcommittee, we had looked at the timeline and the amount that it takes to replace it, which is $280,000. We had approved that it be moved to town meeting to ask for that money. Their timeline is basically, it needs to be submitted by this Friday, so we needed to make some decisions. We also had looked at and thought that it best for the students and the staff that we use the train company under the energy saving service contract, which the town has used for many other projects. The school has also used and had good success. So that will be going to, I don't know if you want to do it now, but a full committee vote, but subcommittee did approve sending it to town to be submitted for fall town meeting at $280,000. Do
you want to do the vote now, or do you?
So there are two, okay.
So we have a number of things that need to be approved at full committee.
Okay, well, you can, why don't you go through them all, and then we'll do, yes, then we'll vote on them all.
Okay. Second piece is that we looked at the FY '24 financial closeouts, basically looking at having a balanced budget. All said and done, thanks to Jordan, it came down to us owing $640.91 back to the town. So subcommittee approved that amount to be submitted back to the town for FY.
Okay.
The next piece I'm going to actually hand over to Jordan, but next two pieces.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you're awake.
Just to add two other pieces to the FY24 closeout. You'll also be voting on the encumbrances, which are the things that were not yet received but already obligated to pay for by the close of the fiscal year, as well as the final line item transfers to balance the budget. Basically zero everything out as being spent. So there's three components to that vote. We had a very long discussion at our meeting as well about capital planning. I shared with the committee a capital planning database that I created, which basically captures every asset in the district, everything from rooftop units to lighting fixtures to roadways, carpets. I dropped it in the school committee folder so that everyone could take a look at that. I didn't do that till today, but it is there. You can filter it. It's a lot of information. It's, hundreds of lines when you just think of all the systems and components that each building has. This was completed by an engineering firm back in 2018. When the town and the school department engaged with a company called Dude Solutions, and they subcontracted the capturing of all those assets out to them. So we didn't really finalize that with them. They did that assessment, and then we sort of stopped in our tracks. We had a change in leadership at the town level, I believe, at the time, and they wanted to go in a different direction. We started that process because both the towns and the school recognized the need to do a better job of capital planning, so it was a starting point. So we were basically left with a paper version, so I spent some time and converted it into an Excel searchable document. So you can filter it by school, you can filter it by, if you want to look at just rooftop units, you can filter it that way, you can filter it by priorities. Those are priorities that we set, Ted and myself, as we went through it. Basically high, medium, low. A lot of the, or not really a capital expense, because there's lots of like nickel and dime things that are just a couple $100. Everything is everything to even down to sinks and stuff in bathrooms is on there. So it's helpful to use the sort features that are at the top, so you can look at specific things. It also tells you the age of all the pieces of equipment. I had to update it because it was done in 2018, so I had to obviously do some work and update all of that. And then in 2018 dollars, the cost to replace that particular item. So if it's a rooftop unit, how much is that going to cost? This was pre-COVID money, or inflation, or so it's at least a starting point so that you have an idea.
Let me ask you a question. So looking at the lifespan, and then is that the estimated time that it's already been there on the next row, next line? So, for example, the sink.
So if it's a negative,
yep,
it's already passed, right?
Well, there are a lot of negatives.
Oh, no, there are. And I mean, you can't, and you shouldn't replace everything just because it says it's at the end of its useful life. You know, when sinks break, replace them or fix the components of them that break. We don't just replace the whole unit. You know, if an exhaust fan on the roof needs a new motor, we put a new motor in it. We probably do 5 or 6 of those a year. We don't get a whole brand-new unit if you just need a part for the unit.
Sure.
So that's sort of the caveat to when you're looking at this. It's saying the whole unit would need to be replaced, and sometimes you can put a brand-new motor in it. You
Okay.
put a new motor in your car, you can go for another 300,000 miles. You know, some other parts might need to be fixed here and there. And of course, it's about prioritizing as well, right? And a lot of those objects I put as not capital. I did that part, the not capital, the updating the years and the priorities. Everything else came from the paper sheet that I converted into digital format. And then I moved, as you can see, it goes out for the next, 20, 30 years. So then I moved those costs down as well. We also had to update, we've done a considerable amount of work, so then I had to go, and I probably missed a couple, but we had to the database is only as good as the information that's in it, so you have to keep it updated. So, we've obviously done roofs at the high school that need to be updated, and have done other work as well. So, it's basically a tool that we can use to sort of map our way forward and understand what things might be coming up and that we need to keep an eye on as well. Any other questions about that? We also reviewed last year's 5-year plan. I also dropped that in the school committee folder as well today, just so that you could take a peek at it, because we're going to need to, probably in the November meeting, vote on a 5-year plan and the capital requests at annual town meeting, because those are due November 15th to the town administrator. Questions? So those are things that we'll be diving into in our next couple budget facility subcommittee meetings as well.
Okay.
And we'll have a little help as well from the town. We've asked them to join us on an ad hoc committee. So we do have a member to be named from the FinCom. So during their meeting, they're going to ask for someone. And we also have MJ Mastrangelo from the Board of Select, the town administrator, and their finance director, Erica Jordan, and I, and our 2 esteemed members, Kendallin and Maureen Fuller. So we think together we can really wrangle through a lot of these things with capital, and again, just, as my dad would say, open up the hood and take a good look what's under it. We've been doing this work for a long time. I really want to commend Jordan, but a lot of it was up in his head, and we really think that now's the time to get people around the table to help people at the town who are our partners really understand our buildings have some needs. We're trying to prioritize instead of, we don't replace everything, but at the same time, some of those needs really are going to cost some money over the next few years. But how do we keep these spaces vibrant, clean, in working order for our kids so that kids want to be here? It's really important to go to a place where you feel like, wow, this is a place of learning.
Right.
So we're happy. They said an emphatic yes, we'd be happy to join you. So we're hoping we'll have probably about 2 meetings in this ad hoc, maybe 3 if necessary, but we'll be able to bring back to you guys a very vetted capital plan for the 5 years.
Good, okay. That's awesome. That's great. It's great that everyone's going to be together.
Yeah, that is
awesome.
We also spent quite a bit of time talking about the middle school solar array and when would be the most opportune time to take that off. The date for when that can come down, I always do it differently. It moved forward or backward. It's earlier, let's just say that. I think it can come off in, what was it?
April 30th.
April 30th. And before we were looking at a summer, so we had some discussions. We'll need to obviously include Principal Bourne in, and if we want to do it during when school's in session. It also, we have MCAS, so probably not, but it might have sped things up a little bit, but we're going to have to vet that out as well. And of course, then that's tied into the whole roof project, so looked at, several different scenarios that I had shared with the Budget and Facility Subcommittee last year. We sort of revisited those. I sort of revised them a little bit, and how we're going to move forward with funding that and the different options. And that's really why we need the town as a strong partner, because it's complicated and there's variables. So hopefully the ad hoc committee will shape up quickly. I think we got two new enrollees, Peter Meyer and Anne Marie Sarunian.
That's for the steering.
Oh, yeah, I was just looking at that.
Two different committees. Yeah, for the ad hoc planning committee, capital planning committee, it's MJ, Mr. Angelo, and a FinCom member to be named.
Okay.
So it might be.
I was getting all the committees mixed up.
I know.
Me too. That's why I had to actually go back in my email and check.
But
But I
for
thought
the
the
big
same thing.
steering committee, the 24-member,
Right.
it will be Anne Marie Sarunian and Peter Meyer who
Yes.
stepped up. Yes,
That's a lot of
also really exciting.
There's a lot going on, yes. Okay.
Those meetings were on okay, I'm with you now. Two very similar tracks, but different, yep.
Yep. All right.
Well, I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was a 2-hour meeting.
Yeah, it was a meeting.
I tried to go quickly, though. We also discussed the wastewater treatment plan again in two different areas, one of which was the previously approved capital, $2.1 million for the RBCs, the rotating biological contactors that need to be replaced, so we're hoping that the ad hoc committee will help give us some input on how to move forward on that as well, as far as how we go about that and who we use. And then the committee also voted to approve a contract for some minor wastewater treatment repairs to interstate water and wastewater in the amount of $119,000. They were the low bidder. They're going to repair the denitrification cell number 1 and about 4 or 5 different other things. This is also from previously approved capital. They've worked on the plant before. They've replaced the other denitrification cells, so I'm very confident in their abilities. And that is the end.
Okay, to say something. He was going to stay quiet.
And I would like to thank Kendallin and Maureen for their commitment and at that meeting and moving forward, because this is...
That's a big, yeah.
It's
all important. It's very important.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's a lot of work, and they dove right in, so really appreciative of their efforts so far.
Thank you. All right, well then, let's have some votes for some of this. Where are we at?
E, I think is right.
E. Okay, so we need a vote to accept the bid for the contract for the wastewater treatment plant repairs.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the bid for the contract for the wastewater treatment plant repairs?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect, approved. How many are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Addie, so we're 6. Okay. Okay, we need a vote to approve the capital request for the chiller.
Move to approve the capital request for the chiller.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the capital request for the chiller? Aye. Opposed? Okay, capital request for the chiller is approved. We need a vote to approve fiscal year 24 closeout, line item transfers, encumbrances, and the turn back.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, thanks. So we're going to, so all in favor of approving the fiscal year 24 closeout? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all in favor. Was 1, 2, 3, that was all of them, correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
I also did forget one other vote earlier in the evening, which was the Blue Star Welcome Week. We just need a vote to proclaim September 21st to the 29th Blue Star Welcome Week.
Move to proclaim September 21st through 29th as Blue Star Welcome Week.
Second.
All those in favor of proclaiming September 21st to the 29th Blue Star Welcome Week? Aye. Opposed? Okay, fantastic. 21st to the 29th is Blue Star Welcome Week. And we need a vote to approve warrants and payroll.
Motion to approve.
Warrants
And payroll?
Second?
Okay, this is a roll call vote. Addie doesn't get to vote on warrants and payroll. Sorry, Addie. Kat?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I say yes, warrants and payroll approved. And we need a vote to approve regular session minutes from May 1st and June 5th.
Move to approve regular session minutes of May 1st and June 5th, 2004.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving regular session minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. You could vote for that one. Not sure if we did. Only warrants and payroll. So, okay. Was there any other discussion, questions, or anything? Because I forgot to even ask that. Because it's midnight. Gosh, sorry, I know.
It's getting late, and if I may.
Yes.
The volleyball team will not be here this evening. The team is okay, they're all set, but they would be delighted to attend the next meeting.
Okay. Well, I would love for them, and I was hoping I didn't have to just read them off.
Right.
We live in, so they want to present these. So
If you would be willing to see them again, they come to the next meeting.
absolutely, they can come to the next meeting.
It was tough on a game night anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem at all. They'll be on the next agenda. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't do the rest of the subcommittees. Sorry.
All right.
Good night.
We did budget and facilities. Thank you, Dr. McGuire.
Thank you, Lisa.
Did CPAC meet?
We met today.
Yes,
Oh,
a couple hours ago.
okay. Yeah, we forgot half of them. Sorry, is there an update on CPAC?
Do you want you go?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a very productive CPAC. We had a motion to have chairs, so we have two. They voted to have 3 chairs. They wanted to kind of share the lift, but the third person who's likely going to serve wasn't there, so we filled 2 of the 3 seats. So that was very exciting. So then it means that next meeting, which will be in October, we'll be able to vote in the bylaws. So it is getting formed slow and steadily, and we have brainstormed some ideas as far as a fall event in collaboration with the Federation for Children in relation to Parents' Nights, and then another one in the spring, and really having some parent participation at all of the parent open houses as well. So trying to elicit a little bit more involvement in them. So it was a productive, healthy meeting. So it was good.
Great, thank you. Cape Cod Collaborative is meeting currently, so Maureen will have an update next month. The District Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee.
So they haven't met yet this year, but
Okay.
we're planning to continue the book study, because there are still a few more chapters to go. So Jessie Clemens has stepped up to officially chair that committee. She's very excited about it. Again, it was a really awesome book. And not coincidentally, one of the authors is who will be at our November 5th DEIB Making Connections workshops. So for the folks who were able to read the book, they're pretty excited to be able to meet her. So yeah, it's going to continue. They're going to form. They're going to, first order of business will be to continue with the couple of book chapters that are left. And then they'll also help to, just like last year, create the Bourne Celebrates event, which again, this year is happening earlier, just so you have, if you look at that whole list, and in conjunction with our resource fair. So I believe it's in the November
7th,
Thank you.
I think, yes.
Yeah, great. So it's going to be a really neat kind of double event.
Yeah, that
to
would
work
be
on.
nice.
The idea is that the DEIB committee will have a catalyst after this big Making Connections Day, and we'll get some more people interested who may want to join. So yeah, I think, and it's just something that needed to grow organically, and we feel really happy about where it's going. So.
Great, that's awesome. All right, and Strategic Planning Steering Committee is going to be meeting for the first time in the end of October.
Yep.
Any additional updates? Subcommittees? Any final thoughts? Did I miss anything?
Thank you. That was a big meeting with a lot of.
That was a lot.
Meeting.
Yes, it's great. It was all good information, so. All right, well, thank you everyone very much, and we need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
I second. Okay, roll call vote to adjourn. Carrie?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to say no.
No, I was going to say aye. I was going to say aye, yes.
Did you tell Joy? Yes. Addie?
Yes. Say yes. Meeting adjourned at 8:40 PM.
I was confused if I said yes or aye.